So what are we doing today? Well, we got this jumbo trailer we're working on. This is a gooseneck 20k trailer. It's got 10k axles, and it's time to service the wheels. And you can see how shiny and pretty that front one is. We already did it. So now we got to do this one and the other side. We got to do them all. But I'm going to do one. I'm going to go through it with you, and we're going to show you how to service a 10k axle. It's a little different from your standard boat trailer, utility trailer, whatever. All the same thing at the end of the day, but a little different. So the first thing we gotta do is get this one tire jacked up so we can work on it. And for anybody that doesn't have one of these, it's a real pain to jack one of these trailers up with a jack. This is called an easy jack. This is the greatest thing ever. I'm gonna set this right in front of this tire. And if you got a big trailer, this is the way you want to do it. We're just gonna drive this truck forward, and it's gonna drive up on that and get that back tire right off the ground. Here we go. Look at that, huh? That's the way we do it. That's the way you get it done. You know, and if you're out on the side of the road, broke on the side of the highway, flat tire, whatever, you don't want to be fighting with a little bobble jack trying to get one of these things jacked up. You pull your easy jack out, you drive up on it, and boom, you're going down the road. So second thing, it's hot. It's some kind of hot. I got me some shade. Oh yeah. Look at that. All right. We got the shade. All right, we got the tire off, obviously. For that, we got a nice cordless gun here. This makes life wonderful for us. Take off the ring. All right. Don't laugh at me. These tires are a handful. I probably weigh about 200 pounds with the rims. I ain't getting no further than I got to. We got our collection bucket. These are oil bath hubs. There's not much in them. And I don't have any bad seals. Nothing's leaking. But the trailer's 10 years old, and it's not something you want to wait for it to break. You want to stay proactive on this. Oh, let's get this over here in the shade. There we go. How's that? They make fabricated sockets for taking these big caps off. I don't have one. So, you know what? What are you going to do? You work with what you got. I got a big jumbo pair of pliers here, and that's going to work just fine. They're not that tight. Oh, but here you go. Here you go. Let's show you this, because if they're tight enough, it's going to want to spin on you. So you just take a big pry bar, just put it in behind that lug nut right there. That'll keep anything from spinning on us. Big jumbo pair of channel locks. Just rock a little bit. There we go. This got a big O-ring behind it. We got all new caps for these too. None of these are broken. I'll wash out a couple, keep them spares. Alright, it doesn't look so bad. But if you can see inside there, the gook and the yuckies, that stuff's been, like I said, these aren't bad bearings or anything, but just from the years, you can see all that builds up in there. It all needs to be cleaned off. All freshened up. You know, you're traveling down the interstate, last thing you want to do is have a bearing running on one of these big ones. All right, so it's got these little tabs bent around the washer, around the nuts, I mean, not around the washer. And let's see if we can show you this one. And it don't take much. I got a little teeny hammer here. And you just got to bend that little tab out so we can get the nut loose. And that one. These are just to keep your nut from coming loose, just like on a small boat trailer or utility trailer, you'd have a cotter key going through your nut. Well, this is doing the same thing, just on a bigger scale. Okay. We still got our pry bar in here to keep things from turning. These aren't so tight. Let's go ahead and get this one loose. At least they're not supposed to be. I get all them off. Yeah, it looks like it. It's kind of stuck. These are just really supposed to be snugged up. not like a car, there's no preload on these bearings. Take this one off. You can see all the yuckies on the one side, it's pretty bad. And here's your star washer. There's teeth bent down around the nut on the back side. We don't got to worry about those because when we put it back on, we're just going to reverse this. But we're going to clean all this stuff up. Take it to the parts washer and start out fresh. Okay, and here's the actual nuts on it. See, that's not tight at all. So you got two nuts. You got your star washer that locks the two together. And there'll be another washer in behind here that holds the bearing in place. That one right there. And all this stuff is filthy. It just needs a good clean and needs to be washed. All right. Let me get these to the parts washer and I'm going to show you some more tricks of the trade. We'll be right back. All right, we've got our nuts and retainers all washed up, cleaned up. Well, I like it under this umbrella underneath here. But you can see how much better they look now. You know, you don't realize how bad that stuff is until they're actually clean. Okay, so that stuff's done. So now we got to get this drum off. And this is where you got to kind of know what's going on or it just don't happen. So one of the good tricks of the trade, oh, we don't need this here anymore. We don't care if it turns. But when we try to get this drum off, we want to leave that outside bearing in there. Otherwise, it'll cant on there and it's oil bath. It's got a big aggressive seal. The seal's holding this drum on. You can't just pull it off like a regular trailer. So when it finally goes, you want this bearing in here so it keeps it straight, but you don't want to fly out onto the ground like they have a habit of doing. So what we're going to do is just take a small rag and we're going to stuff it around the outside of that. I'm going to put a piece of blue tape over it. Or any tape you got. Duct tape, it don't matter. But this is just so that bearing don't go flying. I mean, we're going to clean it all anyways, but we don't want it flying out into the dirt. Okay, so that's all that's doing. All right, so now, let's get this out of the way. Put a piece of cardboard under here. So now you get your hub puller. Oh, you don't have a hub puller? Neither do I. You know, that's something you have at a shop. You don't have it at your house. You don't have it out on the road, but what you probably do have is a length of chain. You get a big trailer like this, you probably got chain binders. So check this out. We've got this piece of chain here. And actually this one was just a tad small. So what I've done is I've squished two of the eyelets on there and made them I just put them in my vise and just squished them down, made them a little more round. And I'm going to put this one on here, put a lug nut on it. I'll turn that one up just because you want to try to pull as straight and even as you can on this. So if I turn one up, I'm going to turn the other one down to try to make it an even pull. Okay, and there's that. And I'm going to go straight across. 6 o'clock on my lug nut, so I'm going to put this chain on over here. It's all the way on. You don't want to mess up your lug nuts threads. Put this one up. You don't have to tighten them. Just run them all the way on. All right, so now, no, you can't still, you just can't pull that off. I mean, they're on there good. You need to find something with some leverage. I've got a big sledgehammer here. You need something with some weight. I'm going to put this in here and I'm going to give it a good smack. See, it just ain't flying off there. There we go. And that's how you do it. That's how we get them off without a hub puller. You know, you make do with what you got. You got to get it done. So this is what we did. All right, so now we can take this outside bearing off. And there it is. The little rag kept it from popping out onto the ground for us. Did its job. We'll keep that rack handy. We're going to need it. We can take these back off. We don't need the chain no more. Okay. I already got a workbench set up over here. These hubs are heavy. Let's make sure there's nothing in our way because I'm going to get a handful of it. And we're going to get over here and get to work. Oh. That's fun. Okay. All right, let's set up some more stuff. I'll be right back. Okay, we've moved our operation to the shade. Whew, it's some kind of hot out there. All right, so here's our old seal. Let's get this thing out. This, like I said, this is oil bath seals. They actually turn inside themselves. The seal rotates. It doesn't go around on the axle. So here's where you get your seal puller. Oh wait, that's right. We don't have a full shop here. We don't have a seal puller. What we're going to do is we're going to take this claw hammer. Try to get any dirt on it because you don't want that bearing getting dirty. We're just going to slide it up underneath the seal. Give it a whack. Turn it a little bit. Give it a whack. See, it's starting to move. There we go. Turn a little bit more. Give it a whack. Would help if my drum wasn't tipping over this little block of wood underneath there. There we go. Let's give it a whack. And that's it. So that's our seal. Now there's a right side and wrong side when you put the seal back in. Here's our new one. The metal goes toward the oil. But if you got your seal and you look at it right here, it says air side. So that's going toward the air. That's going out here. The metal side is going towards your oil. Okay, air side, oil side, but only the air side says it. Okay, so we're going to take this bearing out. We're going to get the other bearing. We're going to go to the parts washer and wash it up. And then we'll be right back to clean up this drum and complete the process. Okay, we got the drum back from the parts washer, the parts cleaner. Here's our inside bearing, all nice and clean. You can see it was in good shape, just needed some service. So you got to put this bearing in first. Just sit in there. This is all dry right now because this is oil bath drum. We fill it afterwards. And this is something we got to kind of pay attention to. Set this up right here. We're going to put our seal in. Oh, you remember I said there's an air side and an oil side. There's our old one, so we're not going to get it messed up. I'm going to set this in place. Kind of push in a little bit. Get it started straight. I'm not having much luck with that. Wow. There we go. Don't want to get aggressive with this thing. Okay, we got it started straight. We don't want it to be past flush inside that drum. We want it to be even with that top edge, just right around the edge there. So what we're going to do, we're going to put this board over top of it. Get that board, take a look at it, see if I'm just a little up on this side. There we go, nice and flush all the way around. You don't want it all the way down in there, you want it just even with that top edge. All right, so now we can put this back in, we get it started. Once we get up and over the edge of that spindle, then we'll put the outside bearing in, get it lined up and give it a good shove. We'll have to use the nuts to pull it on the rest of the way because the seal is kind of a pressed fit onto that spindle. You can see it turning on itself. All right, let me go get set back up over there on the job and we'll get back after it. Okay, time to repeat the process. Get this set up on there. And we're just doing everything backwards now. That's where it gets to be a little bit of a handful though. I'm gonna hold that weight up. That's a handful. When you get this started on here, you can see these little edges on your spindle. You got to get it up over each one of them and get your seal started on that raised surface back there. So you want to try to get it as straight as you can. Oh, boy, you're holding on there. Oh man, this baby's heavy. Ooh, there we go. All right, now we can slip our outside bearing in there. This will keep everything straight. A little nudge. All right. We got our bearing washer. We got our first nut. And this is the one that actually does the work. The other one's more or less a lock nut. Right now it's pulling that seal into place. I can feel it moving. And that's it. We just go till it stops. And that's it. Now we got our retainer, our lock washer, and the tabs are still bent in where it was bent in over the nuts. Got a little tooth in the middle where it rides on the axle there to keep everything lined up. Let's see, looks like we were in a little different spot before. Must have it a little tighter, so we're going to back off just a little bit. Let's just make sure. Whenever you're not sure, just give it a little bit extra. That'll make sure everything's seated in place. See, that would be too tight. So we're going to back off just a little bit. There we go. Everything came good and free. Put our retainer nut on. Now I can see these teeth lined right up where they used to be. Okay. Get our outside nut on there. There we go. Okay, we'll bend the tab out here. I don't think we're going to do it with that. Bend this one out. Bend this one over. Remember, it only had two. There's one. There's two. There's our new cap. You can reuse your old caps, but if you're 10 years old, I wouldn't want to reuse the O-ring, so get the kit. Comes with the cap, the O-ring, the new little rubber plug insert. Outside of the cap. And one thing I'll show you why it's off, this is, a lot of people don't realize you don't fill these all the way up, you barely fill them. The fill line is right here. That's all the oil you put in them. And you just want to snug these up. If you over tighten them, it'll break off the inside threads of that cap. So just a little snug, that's it. I like to use the Lucas brand 7590 gear oil. That's all this is. And we're just going to fill that right in there. And it takes a little while. You got to let it seep down through the bearings. We'll come back and check it. But when it's done, just remember that oil level's right there with that ring at the bottom. It's not a whole lot of oil. Okay. Oh, now comes the fun part. All right, here's something everybody always messes up on. You don't just tighten down one lug nut and go around. You just barely snug them. And when you do it in a star pattern first. We'll go over here. Barely got that. Straight across. Straight across. Straight across. Straight across. Straight across. Straight across. Now your wheel is centered. Everything's right. Now you can tighten them up. Do it in the star pattern first. right, now I send them home. All right, drive it off the jack. And that's that. We're gonna set this set level for a little while. Get the oil level right. Just let it sit. You can see I did this one a while ago and it's just about perfect. We're gonna leave that alone. This one's gonna need some more. Doesn't take as much as you think. And that's it, you guys are done. I gotta turn around and do the other side. All right, if you gotta do a big 10K axle, oil bath, I hope this helps. Have a great day.